At the higher elevations, Yellowstone's bighorn sheep fight their own battle every winter. The bighorn sheep in Yellowstone descend from sheep that left Siberia and migrated across the Bering Land Bridge 750,000 years ago. They became the primary source of food for the indigenous Tukadika tribe, who lived in Yellowstone thousands of years before Hayden ever set foot there. Tukadika is roughly translated to eaters of the mountain sheep. And the tribes lived at high elevations where the bighorn was plentiful. They used the sheep not only for food, but by warming their horns in Yellowstone's thermal waters, they could shape them into extremely durable bows. There used to be millions of bighorns spread across the western United States. Today, there are fewer than 70,000. And each winter, Yellowstone's bighorn decide who gets to mate this year and who doesn't. Through a series of battles, the toughest males establish dominance. Only they will have breeding rights. A fully grown ram can weigh 300 pounds, 40 of which are held in their horns. Their skulls have 2 layers of cushion above the brain, which absorb the impact of the collision. The sounds of winter are almost as incredible as the sights. Almost as incredible. There's something majestic about the snow-covered peaks. Something inspiring about seeing the wild world unchanged by the hands of man, unchanged by the hands of time. I don't think I'm any different than anyone else. We all grow up in different places. I grew up in the inner city. I was born in a place called Compton, California. But I remember when I got my first glimpse of the Rocky Mountains. You know, it was like the scales came off my eyes, and I thought, could there be a place like this in the world? The reality is that America's so big, and Yellowstone reminds you of what the country might have looked like before there was any outsiders that ever came. And to know that the rivers still flow and these mountains still stand, there is something that we should be thankful for, the human will to convince other people that this is worth keeping. It wasn't a battle, and it was uphill. But it was about one man who believed. He had an idea about himself, so much so that he knew, if given the chance, he could change the world. Ferdinand Hayden's determination to convince the U.S. Congress to protect Yellowstone rather than let it be torn apart is the reason we can tell these stories today. It's the reason that the bobcats and bison and wolves have this pristine landscape to roam, to breed, to fight, and to survive. Survival is the name of the game in winter. The river otters continue their desperate trek to find a new food source. They've made their way to a place where the water never freezes. The Upper Falls. Water crashing from the falls churns the pool below, preventing it from freezing. But the fishing hole is 109 feet down. In the summer of 1871, Hayden and his men used ropes to traverse the falls as they explored Yellowstone. Believe it or not, these otters don't have any ropes. But the snow creates another opportunity. Mom teaches the pups the art of sledding. The otter family makes it to their new fishing bowl. They're back in their element, and soon they'll dine. They found a workaround for the winter conditions, and food here will be abundant. The bobcat isn't so lucky. The pangs of hunger are overwhelming, and he is in desperate search of food. At this point, he'll settle for anything. It's all or nothing. The time to strike is now. Finally, the bobcat has his dinner. Makes me wonder, what if? What if Hayden and his team never came here? What if they'd been delayed a year and people had set up gold mines? What if their plan to protect this place didn't work? And the truth was, it almost didn't. There was a cartographer named Anton Schönborn who was part of the expedition, and he was a big part of Hayden's plan. He took all the notes they were going to use to create the maps that they were going to present to Congress, and those maps were going to be crucial in getting Yellowstone protected. Then just days before he was going to meet Hayden in Washington, D.C., he killed himself. Turns out that 6 days earlier, the Great Chicago Fire had destroyed a huge amount of the data collected on the expedition. It was tragic, of course, but it was a disaster for Hayden, and he needed to act fast. Hayden knew that a watershed moment was upon him. He knew that the wolves were at the gates and the snow was the only thing keeping them out. For when spring arrived, the destruction of Yellowstone would begin in force. The vandals who are waiting to enter this wonderland will in a single season be spoiled beyond recovery these remarkable curiosities, which have required all the cunning skill of nature thousands of years to prepare. With that said, Hayden cast the first stone to protect the land that he'd grown to love. You know, Hayden predicted they would come in droves to destroy this place once the winter released the land from its clutches. His words, not mine, but boy, was he right. Spring finally came in 1872, and one after another, the profiteers started filing their claims, 100, 150, 200 acres at a time. The claims poured into the public land office. Everything from gold to silver to medicinal spring water, every damn thing we've seen had a claim filed on it. And the miracle of it all was that every single claim that was filed that year, every single one was denied. Because you see, 8 days earlier, President Ulysses S. Grant signed Hayden's bill into law. The National Park system was created just in the nick of time, and Yellowstone was saved by 8 days. You know, that's not a fairy tale. It's not a Hollywood ending. It's just how close it all was to going. No one alive today would even know this land even existed. Thank God for that snow, huh? Let's go, pal.